Kit Dardney and Bill Simpson from the Avon, Heathcote, Estuary, Ihutai Trust.
Kia ora koutou.
Kia ora.
Thanks very much for inviting us, and you hopefully will have read our submission. We've got several points there, but I'd just like to reintroduce myself. I'm talking on behalf of the Chair, Isla Marsden. I'm the Vice Chair of the Avon, Heathcote, Estuary, Ihutai Trust, and this is Bill Simpson, one of our board members. We have a great relationship with both regional and City Council, which we're addressing today, and a special relationship with you guys and the Regional Council. We've got a memorandum of understanding about what the role that we partake in the care and the efforts that we can make in the Ihutai towards its ecological management and conservation and preservation. And we have advocated for the estuary's values for many years, and part of our submission to the long-term plan is that we continue funding from yourselves, if that's possible, and that we have a valuable member of your council staff, Glenn, who comes along to our monthly meetings, and I think it's a really good positive exchange of membership of the council and our trust board. And we also really appreciate the funding that Eric Banks gives us and that communication sort of stream of what's happening with council matters and our interests in ecological management and things. And one of the big focuses of our trust is to implement an ecological management plan, which we've brought up and discussed since 2013, and we're in the throes of putting more final touches to that for the implementation. But regarding the submission on the long-term plan, and excuse my 6 eyes, but I've yet to receive my bifocals, I need to just support some of the aspects of our submissions. And one of the key features that I'd like to talk about today, which is sort of in a general way, is the need to keep pushing for managing increases and improvements to wastewater and stormwater management. And our submission has detailed that we'd like to see clear targets for improving stormwater quality, and that these target statements are phrased in such a way to be easily understood by the community. And we also submitted that sufficient resources provided for achieving the target. So there's a lot of talk in the waste and the stormwater management scheme of things to have desirable achievements, but there's never any actual concrete sort of we've got to try and achieve this. So we're really keen on trying to stop contaminants from getting into our rivers and our estuary. On matters of the stormwater and flood protection that was discussed in the long-term plan on page 34, we're also very keen to include the Community Water Partnership Programme in the long-term plan, and we can't see that it is in it at the moment. We really would advocate for that this might be a tool for addressing stormwater issues, and that $1 million be allocated to the programme each year if possible. And touching on one other element which I might need Bill's sort of input for is the use of the estuary in the one of the new cycleways. We've been collaborating and liaising with I've forgotten the name of the organisation, but they're the people that are charged with creating the cycleway network for Christchurch, and they're really great at forging ahead with that. But one of the issues for the estuary that we hope to address and convince them of is that we mustn't encroach into the estuary anymore. Our wading birds are losing their feeding habitat on a regular basis by small incremental, we call it death by 1,000 cuts. And the cycleway is going to have a major impact on the estuary at that Humphreys Drive area of it, where there's a whole hectare going to be lost by just cutting a 6-metre slither off. That's extremely valuable Godwit's feeding territory. We've put submissions to the group who are constructing the cycle paths and said, you haven't got any matrices for the ecological impact of this cycleway at the estuary edge there, and we would really recommend, not only to them but you councillors, that we push for an alternative which has been all groups are happy with, including Forest and Bird and the windsurfers and other interested community groups, that we put the cycleway either on the other side of the road and don't require as much, that the seawall does need to be repaired, but we don't need to encroach and lose that 1 hectare of estuary bed which the wading birds really rely on. And we're really hoping that we can either go to the other side of the road or the track be put through Charlesworth Reserve. So if any of you are involved in any of those projects, please...
Has a decision been made on that yet?
No.
So when is...
The consent hasn't been applied for, so there's no decision on the design. Yeah, we've actually made a decision on it.
Sorry?
Yeah, there's
Yeah, but the purpose of the submission is to say that the process of asking for a environmental assessment to be done as part of resource consent seems to put the cart after the horse, you know, that in actual fact the environmental consent should be done first.
Well, the Estuary Committee decided to run the cycleway on that side of the road, on the estuary side, after full consultation and hearing people.
But without an environmental assessment?
No, and then going forward to get the environmental assessment, yes.
I think it's round the wrong way.
What you've said is...
And it can be revisited easily, and we're fully aware of the concerns, so it's not a done deal.
But it does seem to me that, I mean, the point of the submission, which I read, was that the environmental assessment should be done first.
As part of the matrix for
as
making
part
a
of the
decision.
matrix for decision making, yeah. I think I agree with that.
For both sides. I think there was some work done on both sides. We didn't have, there still hasn't been work done on both.
Yeah, but it...
None of our advisors had said that they were part of that, and Andrew Crossan, for example, and others. Anyway, as long as we're aware of it, because I think people don't actually realise that the cycle track, although we really support cycling tracks, but we want the cycle track not to encroach on the estuary, and we're just starting to try and we've signed international deals saying we're not going to destroy wetlands for this very purpose, so we do need to stop and have a look at where the best point is.
Well, we've been entering into international arrangements with both Korea and China. So, I mean, the Godwits, as soon as you said Godwits, you know, you had me there.
Correct.
So, I don't think the Godwits nest there.
Yeah.
Value. There's very high ecological value.
No.
But I think
The point is that the point is that the submitters have raised a very good point, which is the process around environmental impact. And the question that I think we need to be asking is, should environmental impact analysis precede the process, you know, so, and then inform the process, or does it come afterwards through the resource consenting process? And I have to say that I'm beginning to favour the proposal put up by the submitters.
All the members I've attended, that's their position, as you've summed it up, cart before horse.
Yeah.
Getting that in first.
Yep. Sarah.
The council, so we choose the best site for somewhere, and then we go on afterwards and go, well, what's the impact of that site, and then we decide on it, and we do that with almost every project we do.
Which is why I've raised with the Chief Executive the need to review the content of reports, because what we need to do is we need to completely understand what the risks and opportunities are around all of our projects that would help us with good decision making. So you've raised a really good example of where we would want to do that. So thank you. So has anyone got any questions? Got 43 seconds to go. Glenn's our happy representative on there.
No, I think you summed it up. I mean, cart before horse, and
right.
That's exactly your position.
Okay, Phil.
I just wondered around the work that Regenerate are going to be doing on the estuary edge and South Shore. Like, do you have a preference? Like, some submitters tell us we would like to see a hard edge which we can, you know, concretise or ride around a bike, and the other option we hear about, of
Well,
course,
it's true,
is
we just had another
the
submitter
soft
earlier on
edge.
today.
I'm just wondering if your group has a preference ecologically.
Thank you, Councillor. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So I'm wearing my hat, Estuary Trust rather than South Shore Residents Association. Obviously, from an Estuary Trust point of view, we're very concerned about the ecology of that whole estuary edge. But even so, there are areas in South Brighton, for example, there's one particular area where we do recognise that recreational and asset access values might outweigh so-called ecological values, if you like. But it's a very limited stretch. I think it's only about 200 metres or so. And to us, you know, part of our vision is to make sure that the public and the community does have access to the estuary. Yeah.
Thank
Does
you.
that answer it?
Yes, it does. It's actually a very balanced response, and I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, well, we shall move on, and thank you very much for making your submission.